The Hollywood exodus is much, much worse than almost anybody is describing, and today we're going to reveal that fully to you. What if we told you the population is in collapse in Southern California, but homelessness is on the rise? And at the same time, productions for TV, film, and more in entertainment, all hitting the floor. The lowest numbers you've ever seen, and the statistics, obscene. We'll show them to you on the other side. Hello, folks and friends. Welcome back yet again to, well, the place where we point out the blue skies. Why? Because we're constantly trying to drag Hollyweird back to the mainstream middle, the sensible center where money is made. And by the way, we know that entertainment will absolutely be saved, and it's on its way up, 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 even if the wokies tried to destroy it for a decade or more. As we dive in, click the like button, and we'll show you why California is on the verge of total collapse. But that might be a great thing for other states, even if it's not so great for the nation as a whole. Folks, we've been talking about the Hollywood exodus for a while now, and it's actually getting worse, not better. We wanted to show you, though, beyond the showbiz part of this, beyond the studios and Paramount trying to get out, what's going on with regular people, because this really is the indicator of negative situations galore. We've gone now somewhere we don't typically go, but I think it'll be helpful to all of you. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. St. Louis, Fred, as they call it. Hey, Fred, what do you got for us? Well, over here you see thousands of persons. These numbers are measured by the thousands, so don't think that it's 12,800. It's 12 million. It's 12,900,000. And what this is measuring is the metro area, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim, California. The metro area of that, well, one of America's largest metros. You're going to notice there's a small gap here in gray. That's the pandemic when it was not being measured. Since the pandemic, and slightly before, honestly, so this precedes it, but since the pandemic, what has happened to Hollywood, to Los Angeles? We've seen a precipitous drop in population. In fact, we've seen something like 500,000 people leave going up to 2025. I anticipate that we actually will see a much more significant drop for 2026 for the reasons that we've been talking about. And what will that mean? Well, it could mean that we're getting closer to 1 million gone out of the population, which would be 1/12 or 1/13 of the population leaving. At the same time that SoCal is losing folks, and I think this number takes into account undocumented persons, we'll put it that way for right now. Folks, you can take umbrage with it, but that's just so we don't get too many haters out there, the boo birds. This is taking into account the undocumented, so we're seeing an absolute exodus of Americans. KFI, AM 640, iHeartRadio post this. Hollywood homeless count shows rise in tent living. It says a recent independent count of the homeless population in Hollywood revealed no significant reduction in street homelessness, despite ongoing efforts to provide shelter conducted by Hollywood for WRD, a public-private coalition. The account found that while the number of unsheltered individuals remained steady, there was an increase in people living in tents. The finding contrasts with the previous report by the Rand Corporation, which noted a rise in rough sleeping and vehicle dwellers. In other words, at the same time the population is crashing in Los Angeles, there's more people than ever on the streets. This is not going the way it needs to, and this is why culture we're seeing at every level of Hollywood. Problems galore.
Well, over time, especially when you're looking at large scale areas like Southern California, you kind of need to look at the county as a whole, not just the city. And Los Angeles County is quite large.
And this is why I went with the metro culture, because they get out of it using some little sneaky borders where they'll say, no, everything's okay.
Yeah, which is not true. I mean, Los Angeles County, losing, hundreds of people per day is a story in and of itself. And that's been going on for the better part of 5 years now. So it's strange the way a lot of reporting goes. But would it surprise anyone that people are trying to get out of Southern California, despite what used to be paradise, in my opinion, being somebody who, really enjoyed, living there and surfing and scuba diving and snorkeling and all of that? I would say that I would never want to leave. And yet I was compelled never to live in California again. And I was also compelled to move far away from where I am now. So very soon I'll be headed towards the sensible center of the country. But regardless, this speaks to the politics, the overregulation, the taxation, the lack of governmental responsibility and accountability, and the level of corruption that I think doesn't bode well for the future of the entire state. Why would you remain in a place like this, where you're constantly at odds with whether or not there's going to be water in the reservoir to put out the fire? Why would you still reward or employ incompetence at every level? How did the mayor even get close in a race with somebody who was putting out better ideas as compared to what we got in the secondary candidate that eventually went on to beat out Spencer Pratt? There's nothing positive to point at in this particular part of the country right now. And as somebody who recently was once again in SoCal and went to this wonderful, Universal Studios park, visited a couple of the studio lots and also Disney, I can just say that the minute you leave the pocket where the tourism is, you feel like you should have your head on a swivel and that you might be in a siege.
War zone. Gary Ambrosius described it like a war zone when he goes to LA now. And Carol, when we look at articles like this coming out of the Los Angeles Times, this coming out today, is it too late for Hollywood to save itself? This is the kind of talk that's happening right now. And I don't think the California politicians are acting like this is real. And I think with AI on the way, as we've seen in clips we've been talking about with Josh Dawes and, what's possible now, I am really worried about Southern California. Like, I am legitimately worried about this state that seems to be heading for a failed state status. Yeah. The rest of the country is going to have to bail it out. But worse than that, the folks who live there, I mean, this is turning into Detroit. You've got population collapse that's been happening. You've got homelessness on the rise. You've got Hollywood in trouble. What do you think, Carol, is going to happen here?
I think it's going to catch on fire again.
They did burn down an area the size of the city of Paris too. We forgot about that. No biggie though. No biggie.
Yeah, not a big deal, And then when they investigated why, like, the people responsible were excused, that was exciting. But the thing that's always kind of like struck me is that it's very expensive to be in California. At one point, I thought about moving there when I was a teacher, and I was warned by somebody who was already teaching there that I would have to move in with 4 other people to make rent. So every time you guys see a movie and there's like, a woman that's trying to make it in Hollywood and she's like, paying for her hotel with like her waitress fees, like, that's absolute fiction. And so, to be in California, you have to be rich, right? Or you get to be homeless, or you are a tourist. Like, that seems to be like their main categories right now. And a lot of people I know that are leaving tell me they're leaving because they can't afford to be there anymore. I think the only person I know that is actually still living there, she's on state disability and they pay for her mortgage right now, right? Otherwise, she would move too. And because we don't, I don't want to say we have the common person there, but because that's our demographic pool that's there, like, they're not going to do anything. And even the rich people are starting to leave right now. There was like one guy that was in charge of a giant and still very successful makeup company, and he left. He went to Wyoming because it was too expensive to be in California for him. Right. And it's tragic because you've also got counter narratives too. So I talked about the bubonic plague earlier and the homeless situation. Like, they are completely out of control. And when I say out of control, I mean, one, they are aggressive and they are on something. Like, part of the reason Rippaverse does not go back to California for anything right now is because the one time that we had some people go there, like there was stuff that went down with like the homeless population out there where we're like, we're not coming back. Like, it's not happening. And that's chasing off business. Like, I really want to hammer in, like, their own homeless population is stopping businesses from being like, let's go there and do business. Cause they're like, no, cause I don't want to get mugged in the street by homeless people. And I think it's tragic. And I think what's really going to suck in the long run is your comment about the rest of the country is going to have to bail out California is going to be true. And we're all going to be miserable for it because we'll give them money. They won't fix anything. And then they'll keep upping the taxes to come and bail them out further. And it's going to take like some great intervention for it to get resolved, at least from my standpoint. Chat, you can check me on that. But I think this is like a 15-year problem that's not going to get resolved. And when it does, it's going to be like really painful. So that's my general thought.
Yeah, if we look at the article that is on the screen, back from the Los Angeles Times, look at this. It says there's almost always a decline in production compared to 2025, which was, just terrible. Talking about entertainment. It says in late July, the nonprofit Film LA reported that feature film shoots were down 20% in the second quarter versus last year. Even worse, TV production, once the lifeblood of LA's entertainment industry, decreased by 30%. Again, from a terrible, terrible year. And meanwhile, culture, what have we seen? The money that was set aside for California to try to save the film industry, the TV industry, that money went largely to places like Disney for animated films that are already being made. So everywhere you look in California, it is just a state that is being run in the most corrupt manner possible. And I don't see any. We are now, I think, 5 to 10 years away from total California collapse.
And that would be terrible because if you think about it, California is, I think, the 6th or 7th largest contributor to domestic product of any nation.
Yeah, but that's moving. That's not going away though. Culture, it's moving to the other states. They've run it off.
Well, they have, and they've lost. Well, I mean, I think I've mentioned before, Chevron. They pushed a lot of oil companies out of business. They've relocated refineries elsewhere. They don't produce enough fuel on the West Coast to provide fuel for aviation across the 3 states of Washington, Oregon, and California. So they have real issues, and it all comes down to over-regulation, over-taxation, and just terrible corruption. I mean, how many miles of high-speed rail do you have in California right now, Carol? I mean, lots of it, right? You have billions of dollars for high-speed rail.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about high-speed rail, so I'm about
neither do they, Carol. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, I mean, technically, I guess California's listed as still listed as the 4th largest economy in the world, and that's at about $4.3 trillion with a T. That's a lot of money.
That was being driven by 1, Silicon Valley, and 2, entertainment. Yeah. What has happened to Silicon Valley?
They're failing out.
Listen, SpaceX is in the lead. Yeah. SpaceX left and went to Texas, Tennessee.
Yep.
The largest supercomputer in the world is not located in Silicon Valley. It's not anywhere near San Mateo. It's not near San Francisco. It's located in Memphis.
Right. And where did Oracle go, Pro?
Tennessee as well.
Where did Ellison's Oracle go?
Right.
Where's
so everybody
going to go? Where's Warner Brothers going to go?
So everybody's out of leaving California. And what is the result, folks? What we've just told you. The population is in complete decline. Meanwhile, homelessness is on the rise. And this is going to be painful. It's going to be painful, but I just wanted to take this chance to do this one because we talk about the studios, we talk about entertainment, and we don't talk about the people. Because when the jobs leave, the people sometimes can't leave. There's an exodus for sure, but some people just get left behind. They can't afford to make the move, and then they're out on the streets. And it's very unfortunate. And then homelessness is on the rise. Drug use will be on the rise. Crime will be on the rise. And it's such an unfortunate and unnecessary thing. And California is such a beautiful state. We hope it gets fixed soon, but I don't see any possibility because what happened in California is that they created a system where they can no longer be corrected because of all of these crazy election things. Yep. There's no corrective measure, so they can't pick somebody to fix it, Caro. They're stuck with this ostensibly forever, but the feds will step in.
Well, they have other issues too, like with their education system, because I think California is still got correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they still have that law in place where if teachers think that it has something to do with like your child and if they're in transitioning, and they're like at a point where if a teacher hears that a child wants to transition and the parents don't want them to, like the teachers can take the kids away from the parents. Or not the teachers, but they can facilitate the children being removed. Is that still a thing? So
my understanding is places like California, yes, and places like Washington, Oregon, and all of Canada. If you go against the state in raising your kids, if you have a different belief, if you have a traditional belief, look out if the kid doesn't like that because the state can come in and say, nope, you're not raising your kid this way.
Yeah, they got all kinds of crazy things going on there. They're not taking care of their environment. We talked earlier about like how part of it caught on fire. They're not taking care of their youth in a way that's healthy. They're everything is inflated out the wazoo. And then it's just, I think it's just tragic because I've only been to California once, and it was just when I was in a layover, and I thought it was really beautiful. And just seeing a beautiful place like just go down the slump like this is really sad.
The weather is great. The political climate is not. Culture, final word.
Look, I mean, this is a tale of the tape. When you have overregulation and overtaxation and too many public services that are offered for free to people who are not providing for the general public, you have failed states. California, New York, and several other places are about to experience that. And again, when you lose companies like Tesla, Chevron, Oracle, Charles Schwab, Public Storage, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, et cetera, you're going to go downhill fast because your corporate tax base is going to leave, which takes your, well, residential tax base along with it.
There you go. California going down. Detroit might look good real soon in the real estate business compared to California. Folks, stay tuned. Real people are hurting because of the political decisions made for SoCal. What a joy, what a pleasure, folks, to get to make a video for you. And thank you for watching the entire thing. We could not do this without folks like you. We could not do this without the truly dedicated and those who care about what we have to say. And you can share this out with even more people by clicking that like button, by sharing this out across the social medias, and by doing this one thing, folks, that we don't say enough. Click it and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Until the next time we spend time together, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.